There was once a time when humans weren't the hunters, they were the hunted. And if our ancestors hadn't crafted one simple but deadly tool, you wouldn't be alive to hear this story. What if I told you that a stick with a rock on the end is the reason your bloodline survives saber-toothed killers and night-stalking predators? This isn't just history, it's the real-life Hunger Games of the ancient world. So today, we're digging into the overlooked inventions that made humans the deadliest species on Earth. Across hundreds of thousands of years, our survival didn't come from raw strength or speed. It came from brains and a tendency to make really sharp objects. I want to pull back the curtain on the tools that turned hairless apes into apex predators. Without these weapons, our story would have ended somewhere in the middle of the food chain. Roughly 300,000 years ago, a group of early humans known as Homo prodigium began their journey out of East Africa. These weren't just travelers. They were survivors stepping into a world already owned by monsters. Creatures like the cave lion, dire wolves, and the terrifying giant sloth were just a few of the neighbors they had to deal with. Imagine trying to take a nap when a bear the size of a truck roams nearby. And that brings us to the first real game changer, the spear. Spear making was practically a global trend before social media existed. From the Arctic tundras to tropical rainforests, nearly every ancient group figured out the magic of strapping a pointy end to a stick. Some settled for hardened wood, tips good enough to jab something in a pinch. But others went full innovation mode, carving razor-sharp points from obsidian or flint that could puncture the hide of a mammoth or ruin a predator's day in one strike. This wasn't just a hunting tool, it was insurance. A well-thrown spear could mean the difference between bringing home dinner or becoming it. Some of the obsidian spear tips were so sharp, they'd make modern surgical blades feel like butter knives. This wasn't primitive tech, it was precision engineering by people who probably didn't even have shoes. The spear became a sort of Swiss Army stick, perfect for ambushing prey or keeping a snarling pack of cave hyenas at bay. Whether it was deer, wild boar, or a mammoth the size of a bus, this one tool opened up a menu of survival options. But then came an upgrade that changed the entire game: the bow. Think of it as humanity's first sniper rifle. Silent, deadly, and deadly accurate from a distance. These bows weren't just hurling sticks, they were launching arrows tipped with everything from sharpened bone to venom-soaked stone. It wasn't just about killing. This was efficient, tactical warfare against animals that had been killing humans for centuries. Now, some people assume ancient bows are more like dusty museum pieces, but there's a modern-day woodsman named Jack Forge, a YouTuber who lives like it's still 12,000 BC. He proved just how powerful these weapons still are by hunting and taking down an actual elk with nothing more than a handmade bow and a stone arrowhead. One shot, clean kill. That's not nostalgia, that's a lethal reminder of just how advanced our ancestors really were. If we're picking favorites, the bow might just take the crown. It had range, stealth, speed, and you didn't have to stand face to face with something that could eat you. But while the bow got all the style points, another weapon quietly gave humans superpowers: the sly thrower. Technically known as the Atlatl, but let's be honest, it deserves a cooler name. Imagine a stick that lets you throw another stick twice as far, twice as fast, with half the effort. It was basically ancient, performance-enhancing gear. The Atlatl didn't just improve aim, it turned any half-decent hunter into a long-range threat. Add a stone-tipped dart, and you've now got the force to punch through thick hides, even on massive beasts like bison or ancient elk. The power wasn't just in the tool, it was in what it symbolized. Early humans learning to let their weapons do the running for them. With enough force behind it, the Atlatl could drop a creature as big as an elk or even a mammoth before it ever saw what hit it. Think of it as the ancestor of the bow, but with raw caveman energy. It didn't get as much attention as its flashier cousins, but make no mistake, it was brutally effective. So those three, the spear, the bow, and the Atlatl, formed the holy trinity of prehistoric hunting gear. But the story doesn't end there. There were other weapons, less famous, often overshadowed, but still dangerous in the hands of someone who knew what they were doing. Let's talk about one of the most ancient and surprisingly deadly toys ever invented, the sling. Yes, the same kind David allegedly used to knock out Goliath. This wasn't some kid's rock-throwing game, it was a pocket-sized catapult. With the right technique, it could whip a rock faster than a baseball pitcher's fastball, smashing bones or even skulls. Early humans used it to bring down small game or even ward off predators. Problem is, it's stupidly hard to master. I tried one myself for 2 weeks straight, and if I had to rely on it for food, I'd be extinct. But its charm lies in its simplicity. 2 strings, a pouch, and a well-aimed stone, that's all it took to ruin someone's day. Then there's the boomerang. Not the returning cartoon-style one people imagine, but the real kind. A flat, curved club made to hit and not come back. Used mostly by Aboriginal Australians, the boomerang is an aerodynamic slap in the face. It could strike animals clean at long ranges, and the really skilled throwers? They could take down a red kangaroo no easy feat, when you consider that a full-grown red kangaroo is about the size of a heavyweight boxer who can jump. Boomerangs weren't widespread, but they were precise, portable, and way more than just a weird-shaped stick. When you throw one right, it becomes a flying hammer. And in the hands of a true hunter, it was silent and deadly. And just like that, a flying stick could knock out everything from small deer to kangaroos. But what happens when you're not hunting across open plains or deserts when your battlefield is a jungle thicker than a teenager's Wi-Fi password? This is where the blow dart becomes the stealth assassin of the ancient arsenal. In dense forests, most projectiles are useless branches, deflect arrows, vines, tangle spears, and anything you throw is more likely to hit a tree than your dinner. But the blow dart? It slices through all of that with silent precision. Hunters would tuck poison-tipped darts into narrow tubes and launch them with a quick puff of air. No noise, no warning. And if it hit a monkey perched 30 feet up, it was game over. Tribes in the Amazon mastered this weapon long ago, and many still use it today. It doesn't get the spotlight like the spear or bow, but it absolutely deserves respect. It's one of the quietest and most surgical tools ever created in the wild, and it could mean life or death in a place where jaguars, venomous snakes, and tree-dwelling prey all roam in the same few acres. So there you have it, the real survival toolkit of the Stone Age and beyond. These weapons weren't just tools, they were turning points in human evolution. And yeah, I left out stuff like axes, knives, and clubs not because they weren't powerful, but because those were more for fighting other humans than taking down wildlife. War came later. Survival came first. With nothing but sharpened stones, carved sticks, and clever thinking, early humans took over nearly every corner of the earth. These weren't just prehistoric gadgets, they were the original cheat codes that let us climb to the top of the food chain. So next time you hear the phrase, Stone Age, remember it wasn't about being primitive. It was about being deadly, quietly.